Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well, and I'd like to give a special shout out to the new subscribers of this channel, and I hope you enjoy what you're watching so far. Anyways, the book I'm going to review today is called Madame Restell, The Life, Death, and Resurrection of Old New York's Most Fabulous, Fearless, and Infamous Abortionist. It's written by Jennifer Wright. I believe she is a native New Yorker. She lives in Los Angeles right now with her husband and daughter. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. I'll read you the summary on the flap and then flaps. And then I'll go and give my precise thoughts. An industrious immigrant who built her business from the ground up, Madame Restell was a self-taught surgeon on the cutting edge of healthcare in pre-Gilded Age New York, and her bustling quote-unquote boarding house provided birth control, abortions, and medical assistance to thousands of women, rich and poor alike. As her practice expanded, her notoriety swelled, and Restell established herself as a prime target for tabloids, threats, and lawsuits galore. But far from fading into the background, she defiantly flaunted her wealth, parading across the city in designer clothes, expensive jewelry, and bejeweled carriages, rubbing her success in the faces of the many politicians, publishers, fellow physicians, and religious figures determined to bring her down. Unfortunately for Madame Restell, her rise to the top of her field coincided with the greatest scam you've never heard about: the campaign to curtail women's power by restricting their access to both healthcare and careers of their own. Powerful secular men, namely Anthony Comstock, threatened by women's burgeoning independence, were eager to declare abortion sinful, a position endorsed by newly minted male MDs who longed to edge out their feminine competition and turn medicine into a standardized male-only practice. But unraveling the misogynistic and misleading lies that put women's lives in jeopardy, Wright simultaneously restores Restell to her rightful place in history and obliterates the faulty reasoning underlying the very foundation of what has since been dubbed the pro-life movement. Like I said before, I really liked this book. I thought it was very thought-provoking, very fascinating, and is very timely. I think, when did it come out? It came out in 2003, I believe. So I could be, yeah. So a little over 2 years ago it came out. And it definitely is very timely. She does talk a little bit about the Dobbs decision in the book, which had just come down the previous June in 2022. And I really quite enjoyed it. The only thing that I think was kind of missing, and that I kind of wish she had, was some photographs. And it was at times a bit dull. There were points. That's the reason for the 4. It wasn't that it was a bad story or it was mind-numbing and very boring. It was a very fascinating story and very interesting, and she told it very well. I'm not dissuading her, but I thought it was a very fascinating book in looking into a profession that often is, well, I should say, is very much maligned even now, and especially when it comes to women's health care, which is abortion. If you disagree with my points of view, you can probably stop this. But yeah, it was a very interesting book, very fascinating into that world. Yes, some of it was very seedy and, but also there were times when, you know, women really did want to have an abortion. You know, they had too many kids. They didn't know how to prevent having more kids. Birth control wasn't readily as accessible as it is today, nor as good as it is, probably. But yes, I know abstinence is the only thing that's 100% effective. I realize that. But it's a really good, it's a good story, and it sort of dovetails into the Comstock era, where there's an act in the United States, still is, unfortunately, that sometimes prevents providers from disseminating information to their clients. And I think it's unfortunate that that act has not been repealed, because that Comstock Act also involves, you know, any sort of, you know, used to, and I think it was anything that was deemed to be anything deemed pornography, like even if it was a novel, let's say like Lady Chatterley's Lover was deemed to be pornographic, and it got under that law, but apparently they revised it and it was allowed in the 60s. So I don't, particulars, if anybody knows, I'd appreciate it. Anyways, really good read if you're interested in the topic. If you're not, that's fine. That's why I present a whole lot of different types of books for your reading pleasure, so that you can choose. You don't have to read everything I read. That's why I read it for you. So if you're interested in abortionist rights and the beginning, well, I would say abortion's always been around, but the beginnings of the modern day abortion movement, I would definitely highly recommend this book. It is a bit slow. She does get somewhat bogged down in the details. I wish it had been a bit faster read in some sections. But it's nonetheless, it's a very informative read. It's a very fascinating read, and it's a very, it is a read that will definitely bend your mind on abortion rights. Anyways, and if you're not into this topic, fine. You can leave it alone. Move on. Find something else that interests you. Anyways, that's it for today, and that's it for now, and I will hopefully see you. I'll talk to you soon, and oh, before I forget, remember, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. And also, if you want to buy any of the books mentioned here, you can click on my bookshop.org site link, and buy a book through that link, and then it will give me a few bucks back my way. Anyways, I will talk to you soon, and happy reading.